Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Life Choices podcast.
Yeah!
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode here on the Life Choices podcast. Today's guest is Renaldo Van Staden.
Van Staden.
Van Staden. I got someone's name right.
In America is Van Staden.
Right.
South Africa, Van Staden.
Okay, there you go. I'm not going to try that one because I usually fuck up my guest name. So real quick for everyone out there that is our lifers and to any new joiners here this week, Renaldo and I have been acquaintances and friends since 2000 and...
Let's say 10?
Yeah.
2010.
That's when you... I think I recited the day I met you when your wife Anessa Darling was on the show.
Yep.
When we met working on Top 5. No. Yes.
Top 5.
It was Top 5 already.
Yeah.
And was it Top 5 or was it Nice and Easy?
It was Nice and Easy, and then
they bought it. Right. Because I remember you coming down into the crew mess and sitting on the counter, and you just had this massive positive confidence. You just had an interview, and you're like, "Nah, I got it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just believe." Your famous words, which I've talked about many times to many people.
Thank you. I saw that on Carl's interview and the wife's.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've probably mentioned on Mark Lalore as well.
Still have to look at that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as we're filming right now, when this goes up, when this podcast goes up near the end of November, Mark's would have gone up. Mark's would have gone up in the beginning of October.
Gotcha.
So by now you will have seen it.
Yeah.
It's just that we're in the past right now talking about the future, which is what we do here on the Life Choices podcast. So what have you been up to? What are you doing now?
Combination of running my own company and back on the boats temporarily. We always say temporarily,
right?
But the boats have something to do with your life and pulling you back into it.
Well, it's the good coin that it gives you. Unfortunately, we have to sacrifice quite a lot of our lives in order to do so.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the most part, I kind of, I started up my own company again. So far, so good, successful, I think. Every day is a struggle. It is, you just got to stay positive through the struggles. And you've known me for a long time, so I try to stay positive through all of it. Yeah.
I mean, as far as I can remember I actually don't even remember a time that you weren't positive and that you weren't smiling. I know we all have our moments, and I'm sure we've blown a gasket from here and then, now and again. But on more of a regular time, you are a very positive individual, and you put that throughout your whole life. Any aspect of it, basically. So are you away quite a lot right now? Are you doing rotation?
Yeah. So 56 days on the boat, 56 days off the boat.
Okay. So 2 months on, 2 months off.
It's a balance. It's a balance with the family.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think me and the wife have come to the conclusion that the statement of the, being apart from each other is sometimes can have a negative effect, but I think it's more positive than negative. So it's been good for our relationship and our marriage.
Right. I mean, there is that quote, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That's the one I was looking for.
Yeah. No, but I mean, in some cases it's true. And, I've said this before. I don't believe that humans have been created to be around one individual 24/7.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. We all have different personalities. And even if you have found someone to spend the rest of your life with, you're still two individuals.
Yeah.
And making that work, sometimes, having that trust and respect.
That's the big one.
So that while you're gone from each other, there's no worries or anything. But when you're there, you're more present.
Yeah. For sure.
You're more
100%.
grateful for the time you have with the individual.
It's been so good. Since my boy has been born, I mean, that changed my life 360.
Yeah.
In its own way.
Okay.
But no, it's honestly been good because I get the time to spend time with myself, with my own thoughts, which I like, because I definitely see myself more of an introvert than an extrovert. But as you know, yachting will push you over the line of extroversion. Like, that's just yachting for you, you know. So for me, coming into yachting, kind of, I had to push the boundaries of getting along with all the crew, working together as a team, going out all the time. You were there next to me, so going out all the time. It's. I'm happy that I did do that. I think that for introverted people to have extroverted qualities is a very good learning curve, and something that they should go through. But yeah.
I agree with you on that. Absolutely. You need to get out of your comfort zone. It creates, it builds better character.
Yeah.
It's funny because all of those friends of mine who've sat in that chair, who I've known through yachting, always bring up the fact that I was always there right with them partying. And I pride myself now, and the audience knows this, that I rarely go out. Like maybe once every 3 or 4 months. Maybe I'll go out, 2 weekends in a row, and then nobody will see me out drinking for like 5 or 6 months. It was fun when we were doing it. It was, and it created bonds and friendships, which will last forever. But too much of anything can be a bad thing.
Too bad. I mean, I've got that combination now of 6 months I'm on the boat, and that's boat time. So it's go, 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 go. Like you hit a dock, what's happening with all the crew? Boom, off straight at the pub, But then I can come back home and just spend quality time with my family. There's no going out. There's social events with my friends at their houses. We do a barbecue, or in South Africa we'll call it a braai. But from a social aspect, when I'm back home, that's it. So I've got the best of two worlds at the moment.
Okay.
And a loving wife that supports that, which that was not a big hurdle, because my wife's also from that side, so she understands how busy it can be, how the schedule can change on a whim. But yeah, so it's working out fine.
You mentioned having your baby boy change your life 360.
Yeah.
Because we did party a lot, often, regularly, daily, if we could. And who we once were obviously is not who we are now.
No.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Fatherhood, the pressures, what happened. Like, you were young, right? I mean, you were young, I believe, for what most people do when getting married and having children.
25, I think.
Right?
25, 26.
Something like that, married. And the boy came along...
born 2019, so
okay,
so 4 years old at the moment.
Yeah. So what was that like? How did your life change? What was it about the situation that just kind of like pushed you into the new life?
I feel like when people say like you're never going to be prepared to have a child, that is very accurate. You're never going to be prepared. So if you're planning on having children, if it's more a financial decision for me on a male level, I think men and women think about it completely differently. I think men move towards looking at the financials. Can I support a new child? Is this the right time financially to make this decision? Where if I look at how my wife looked at it in the beginning, I think it's more an emotional decision. I'm ready. Like I love you as my husband, and I can see us having a child together. So maybe let's start planning for that. So when we actually thought through the process and started planning for it, I can't 100% say that it was planned perfectly, but we had a plan in place. So what came after the baby was born, well, that's a whole different story, because no book, no podcast, no anything can prepare you for that. Like the first time that you hold that baby in your hands it gives me goosebumps. It's amazing. It's like my wife looked at me after the baby was born too and said, I can't believe you didn't cry, you know? And I'm like, that is not really the type of person that I am, crying about everything. I do have my emotions, but I don't cry on a whim. For me, it was more looking at the entire process as it was happening, with maybe an engineering mindset, because that is my field of study. And I was just so excited to look at the doctors and the entire process of this happening that I didn't even think about crying. When the doctor stuck scissors in my hand and said, you want to cut the umbilical cord, I was like, yes, please, that is awesome. You know, so I mean, from that point, we were, I think, in the hospital for 2 days with just off for the wife to recover. And that's when it really set in. The moment we left that hospital, because while you're in the hospital, you've got all of these doctors and nurses constantly monitoring the baby, looking after the baby. They are really looking after the baby. We're not doing anything. We're just holding the baby and waiting for reality to set in. And when we walk through that front door away from the doctors, that's when reality set in. It's like, oh my goodness, I've got this little young beautiful boy that I now have to look after and take care from this point forward. That is, I don't want to say that I got anxious, but maybe a little, because we read a lot of books, and of course, like, it's the first thing the wife told me when she knew that she was pregnant, like, we got to start reading some books. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll read the books. If that's going to make you happy, I'll read the books. But none of those books helped me whatsoever once I left that hospital. And so for me, it's just, I think the biggest thing that I took from my boy getting born is that my entire mindset changed from, it's not about you anymore. It's all about him and supporting your wife, because if you and your wife are not on good terms, you fail as parents. And who do you really fail at that stage? You fail the baby. You fail your baby boy. So that was kind of my biggest thing. Get rid of me, and now focus all my attention on this. The motivation that I got business-wise after my boy was born was also amazing, mind-blowing, astonishing. It's like, I literally went out on a daily basis going, what can I do 1% better today that will improve his life? That's it.
That's amazing. People, I agree with you. I don't have kids. I've never read any of the books, but I can imagine with most things in life, books are written a certain way, and maybe not as forthcoming or truthful about the reality of the situation. And it's amazing. I love what you said. When you were in the hospital, you have that confidence of people helping you because everyone is there. All the doctors, all the nurses, all the equipment to make sure that this brand new baby is totally fine before leaving the building. And then all of a sudden, hopefully most situations, not all of them, but mom and dad are walking out, or mom, dad, whatever the situation is, are walking out of this building. And as soon as those sliding doors close behind you, it's like, oh, fuck.
It's exactly like that.
This is us. It's just us now. So like hats off to you and to everyone else that does that. Hats off to those that are single parents that do it, because that's a whole other world. And it's interesting that it wasn't until you left the hospital that it really sunk in for you. And the fact that the mindset shifts, not just for yourself as in like what you're now responsible for, but how you said business wise as well. How can I do more today to make sure his tomorrow is better?
It's a light switch, Brad. It's insane.
Because I mean,
I can't explain that to people.
I mean, I hope most people have enough self-awareness that you know how negatively selfish we are when we're only worrying about ourselves.
Yeah.
And how positively selfish you become when you now have the responsibility of someone else on your shoulders.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I can't, even my relationship with my mother, night and day change.
Right.
Night and day change.
Oh, please explain.
Because after I had my baby, and you see what you have to personally deal with now on a 24-hour basis. And when I say 24 hours, I mean 24 hours. It's busy.
Yeah.
I won't say that me and my mom did not have a good relationship. I think we did have a good relationship. It's just I'm a very stubborn person. And when I was even growing up, I was always like, it's going to be my way or the highway. Easy, right? And my mom kind of went along with that. And where the biggest realization for me was she raised 2 kids, 2 boys, to almost 3 years apart by herself, doing multiple jobs in a third world country. It's like, okay, that is my role model. It's like if I look at the way that I'm going to raise my son and all the opportunities that he now has in a first world country, how can I fail if I keep up with the work ethic according to what I'm looking at my mother? It's amazing what she did. Truly.
Isn't it crazy how we, as individuals who are now adults, we don't usually understand what it is our parents are doing. We look at it through different eyes. We look at it as a child, looking at a parent being like, oh, why can't I do this? Or why can't we have that? You don't really have an awareness of what happens in a day. Yeah. We learn a little bit when we leave the home and we now fend for ourselves, where we have to pay rent or groceries or a car payment. Like, we get an idea. We're like, oh, thanks, parent, for giving me those lessons.
Yeah.
I don't have a child. I've never, known what that realm, what that arena is like. But I understand what you're saying. Like, now that you have a child and you see what goes in and day out, not just on yourself, but you have a spouse. So the two of you are working at this to maintain the child's happiness, health, everything, environment that it grows up in. And now all of a sudden you have a much larger love than you had before for your mother. Yeah. Especially since you're saying she was a single parent for most of your life. We're going to get into that in a moment for sure. It is strange that somehow as children we don't listen to our parents because we don't quite understand what it is they're going through.
Correct.
And then when we're older, we have this abundance of love for them because we're like, holy fuck, you did that for me, my brother, my sister, my multiple brothers, like whatever your family is. I have 2 older brothers, house of 5 of us, mom, dad, and 3 kids. I mean, fuck, man, I have a dog, and that's expensive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To have multiple
and
children.
Work,
yeah. And like you're saying, your mom was doing multiple jobs to have the necessities for what you need. House, shelter, food.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what is like, what's the biggest highlight being a dad?
I think I gained an extra friend, like a real friend. I don't baby my child. Like, I raise him to the best of my knowledge with the resources and the education that I've got within my grasp, and like, I see him as a friend. When he really gets into it with his mother or with me, then the friendship turns sour fairly quickly. But then I start acting like a dad. But for the most part, like, he's only 4 years old at the moment, and I don't want to baby him. I want him to just grow up. At the moment, just have fun. That's all that I want from him at the moment, is have fun, learn as fast as you can, because the world that he's going to move into when he's 18, that's not easy.
Right.
No.
No, and you're going to give him the memo now so that when he becomes 18, he gets the idea.
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing thing that more parents should do right now. I was brought up in a different time, obviously, and wasn't really told, you know, the reality of what it's like to pay your own bills and have food on the table for yourself. And
I don't even think they teach that in schools, to be honest. They don't. And it's like, you would think a first world country would do that. Like, teach your kids taxes. It's a pretty important thing.
That is a huge thing. I just saw a thing this morning. One of the gentlemen I follow on another, he was on a podcast, but I follow him, and he was talking about how fucked up the world is and how they don't want you to become fiscally responsible because they don't want you to know how to do your taxes. They don't want you to know how to be financially stable. Yeah. That we'll get into that on another day, because finances and being fiscally responsible is something that we need to teach everyone at a young age. For sure.
Yeah.
Was it more scary walking out of the hospital with the newborn, or when you found out you were going to be a dad? Because they're both kind of life altering situations.
When I found out I was going to be a dad, I was sitting in Qatar on a refit project.
You weren't even in
Wasn't
town.
even So I mean, not that scary. My mind was busy. You know, I can't really say that. I mean, I gave a lot of thought to it and spoke to the wife every single day about it and started planning for the future, because at least we had 9 months. But no, I would go with the hospital. Like that was kind of a light switch moment for me, for sure.
So you're a 2-parent household, and you just touched base on the fact that your mother raised you and your younger brother by herself. When did that situation occur, if you don't mind?
So, I mean, my dad kind of left when I was 2 years old. So I have no clue who or what he is. He's never resurfaced. So, I mean, that's kind of end of the story for paying attention to him whatsoever. You know, it's I can't wrap it around my own head how you could possibly do something like that now that I have a child. Like, the amount of love and affection that I have for my child is beyond anything that I could ever think about. You know, so I mean, kudos to my mother for doing what she did. She had the at least the assistance and help from her mom and dad, which I think helped a lot. But yeah, that cannot be. I can't imagine it, Brad. Honestly, I can't. Like, I would do anything in my power to keep my wife as happy as possible, because for me, there is no option when it comes to divorce at all.
Okay.
Like, there's just work harder on your relationship, communicate better with each other. I think that's a big one. Communication.
Massive.
Just communicate, and listen. Especially with my wife, I think the one thing that I've learned over the last 4 years or so is that most of the time she does not want my opinion. And it sounds weird, but she doesn't. She just wants to come in, she wants to vent, she wants to talk, and she wants me to listen. If she wants my opinion, she will ask for it, but that also makes my life easier, right? It's like, let her vent. I'm happy to listen. Vent all you want, and if you do want my opinion, ask for it. I will give it, because I've run into situations in the past where she started venting about something that bothers her, and I would instantly give my opinion. Again, it's an engineering mindset, right? Like, I want to fix things. That is built into me. I fix things on a daily basis when it comes to electronics and network engineering and all that type of stuff. So it's my first instinct to help. and to fix it. But that does not work. It does not work out so well in the long run.
It makes sense. Men, this is my personal opinion about men and women. Women discuss things through emotions, and men use logic.
Yeah.
We're logically thinking of the situation, and okay, A plus B equals C. Okay, well, how can I get to C a different way? So giving a solution to something, which is true, is how our brains are, but the woman counterpart doesn't give a shit right now about your fucking opinion. Yeah. They care about getting off their chest what it is, and they just need us men to sit there, shut the fuck up, and listen.
That's it.
Right?
And it is a form of communication.
Absolutely.
It's a great form of communication. You do not have to speak to communicate. Mm-hmm. Someone can speak and you can listen. You can really listen and take it in. And then if they want an opinion, you can give your opinion. But if that's all it takes, just to listen, well, just listen, sit back, relax, take it in, and then let it be.
It's intentionally being there with the person.
Correct.
And letting them know by not speaking that you give a fuck and you are there for them to support them.
For sure.
Just by listening sometimes.
Yeah.
So your mother raised two boys on her own, and you were growing up, no father.
Yep.
Remarried, any male figure in your life growing up from two on?
I think it's my mom remarried twice, didn't work out. So I think through that and growing up through that, I learned a lot about how to possibly manage my relationship with my wife in the future. Maybe I learned something at a young age that I now am using constantly. And I think one of the biggest things that I took out of that was communication and trust. Those two. Because I think in a lot of relationships, people they get jealous. If I can state it plainly like that, they get jealous, and for what reason I don't know. I think it's a lack of communication, probably, because that's kind of my number one priority in my relationship is communicate. And if you are open book and you can communicate with your spouse, well, I think it will solve a lot of problems.
Well, you're building a better day every day that you spend with them because you want it to succeed.
Yeah.
You want to communicate what's going on in your mind, in your heart, so that they understand where they stand in a situation. The way that you were brought up by a single mom with seeing two other marriages not work out while you're growing up as a young man, you seem to have taken a good path anyways. I'm sure there might have been some rebellion going on, right? But when I met you at the age of
19,
right?
20,
right?
Yeah.
Like a baby, like so young. You didn't seem like you had gone down too far of a bad path, where I feel that a lot of young men that don't have a father figure or a male figure, doesn't necessarily have to be your father, but a male figure to look up to, may have gone down a different path and ended up somewhere else, where you managed to live a good, healthy, happy, fun life, enjoying it, met your wife. I remember when you met her, and then when you guys came to Newport, or you were on a boat, I was on a boat, we were in Rhode Island, she came down to visit, we all went out for dinner and drinks, and that's history. Like that's boom,
done
and married with a 4-year-old now, right? But what do you think contributed to the fact that you didn't go down the wrong path, not having that male role model in your life?
I think honestly, like most of my current success, even, I contribute a lot to all of my failures in the past. Like even when I finished school and we decided, okay, we are going to South France and just step into the world, not really thinking about what we are about to do. The fact that I had my close friends and that community willing to do that with me helped a lot. I think I heavily relied on my close friends, even at a young age, where that was my community, their parents that are still together today. Like, you see all these other relationships that is working out, and you go, it is possible. It is possible for two human beings to actually make this work. Not knowing anything about the struggles of a relationship whatsoever, but the fact that we took that leap and just left our country, went over to France and Italy and Greece, and went to go and explore the world. Through that experience, I mean, at some point we were stuck in Rome at an airport, a train station, completely robbed blind of everything that we owned. Literally, passport gone, cash gone. We had nothing. We were stuck on that train station without anything left in our life. That the fact that you can get that down and to a level where you've got absolutely zero left, and then you take 1% of a step in the right direction every single day, just 1%, and you just keep on building on those and building on those. And here I am, I don't even know how many years has gone past, 15 years later, every day taking that 1% step and making my life 1% better every single day. I mean, you're going to wake up. I wake up in the morning with the mindset going, today is going to be a productive day. I am going to fail 110%. But in order to learn, you need to fail. So knowing that, I can't even get negative. I do not get negative, because I already know it's going to be a productive day. I'm going to do everything in my power to make it a productive day. Along that line, I'm failing. Get up, go again, fail. Get up, go again, fail. And if you already know that you're going to fail, what in life can possibly make you negative?
As long as that failure doesn't end with you 6 feet under, you're good.
That's it.
Right? And knowing that you are going to fail, because we all do. And it is life's best teacher.
Yeah.
Because you now know how not, like, the next time that situation comes at, you're not going to go straight for it. You're going to go left and go around it, so you don't have to, or you're going to go over it.
Exactly.
And yeah, the day won't be that bad, because hopefully at the end of it, you're still alive.
Oh.
You know, not everyone gets to come home at the end of the day. That's the unfortunate truth about life. But knowing that you're going to fail and just get back up again. It's true. The quote is, it doesn't matter how hard you get knocked down. It matters you get back up. Yeah. So being that, we mentioned not too long ago how you couldn't understand how your father could just leave, when the way you felt when you saw your baby boy.
Yeah.
I don't have children. I don't know what that's like. There was a situation not too long ago in my past where I did fall pregnant with a girl I was dating at the time, and very much a woman's choice situation. But I was involved in the conversation, which I was very grateful for. You know, obviously chose not to have the child, unfortunately. But I was so geared up. I was ready. Like you said, you're never ready until it happens. And then you're just like, well, fuck it. I am ready. Like, I was in I forget which boat, but I was in the pantry with the door closed when like, you know, I got the phone call. I'm sitting down and I hear this news and I'm like, holy fuck. But I was like super excited. How much do you think that your dad doing that had put the amount of love towards your new baby boy when you actually saw him?
Can you rephrase that?
So you can't understand, you can't fathom how an individual who has a child would choose to leave.
Yeah.
Which I agree with you. I couldn't understand how a man couldn't just be a man.
Yeah.
And take care of their child.
Yeah.
That's a God-given, I don't know, that's just something you just feel like, but he chose not to, and you've held on to that. Like, why the fuck didn't he? But now you're a dad. Now you're being given this newborn baby. And that unconditional love just over you like a warm blanket, basically.
Yeah.
How much do you think your father not willing to man up to the situation might have affected the amount of love that you now have for your child?
I think a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the sense that you're looking at someone else's failures, a father figure in this case, and you will do everything and work as hard as you have to not fall prey and go down the same path. Because, and it's not like I turned out too bad. But
that's literally what I said earlier, dude.
But I mean, it's just, I'm looking at what transpired in my personal life growing up, and then I'm looking at what I can offer my child if I'm a present father. If I reach a certain success in my life, I can only imagine what mountains he's going to climb. I'm so looking forward to see it, because the things that you do get from a father figure is completely different than what I got from my mother. My father figure in the sense of my life growing up would be my grandfather, because he was very, very involved in my life growing up. So I can say that I lost a father, but I also gained a father in my granddad, which is the old way of raising kids. It's like,
it's the way I was raised.
Exactly. I skipped the generation. And I think for the most part, it instilled a lot of conservative values in me, because back in the day, the older generation was very, very conservative in South Africa. So I mean, I gained a lot of conservative values, family values, even my religion, gained it all from my granddad.
It is a different time that my parents, my dad would be 76, my mom just turned 75. So I would imagine your grandparents are probably around that age?
Just turned 86.
Oh, so a bit older. So kind of their way of thinking, very similar. Getting hit a few times for shit doing that you shouldn't do. But excellent that he actually stepped up to the plate and saw that it's important for a young man to have some sort of male role model.
I think it's one of the biggest problems in society today. Is people that grow up with single families.
Yeah, and no fault to their own, because again, we just never know what the man or the woman is going to do once they find out they're having a child. But it's interesting that you bring this up, because your grandfather, my father, brought up in a certain time where men were very masculine, very manly, didn't talk about their emotions too much, and brought up their kids that way. We're now living in a time where we're trying to find balance in everything, and sometimes I know I'm to blame. I don't have balance when it comes to work and fun. I'm all about work right now. But when it comes to being a man right now, there's a big topic about being a masculine man, or being in touch with your feminine side and being able to share your emotions. So here on the Life Choices podcast, we've discussed this a few times, and I feel that it's very important that we as men have other men in our lives that we can have conversations with, because we can't always talk to our wife or our girlfriend 100%. or someone of the opposite sex, because they're not always going to understand what we're trying to get at. Now, I know you, and you just touched on this a little bit, but you, Kyle, Nathan, Chris.
Correct.
Right? 4 of you boys. We're like thicker than thieves and probably still are.
That's a family.
And that's your brotherhood, you know, since you were a young man. And I've known that since I met all you guys individually, collectively.
Yeah.
I have my own group of men, my tribe. And we're fine sharing a lot of stuff with each other. Not always as a whole group, maybe one-on-one. Where do you stand on this topic of men being too masculine versus too soft? Where's that happy medium? What should we be doing?
For me, it's like I just told you, like, because I had my grandfather as a father figure, instilling more conservative values and raising me that way, my personal opinion is men should man up, you know, and take care of their families, take care of their wives, and not in the sense that you have to. When I say take care of your wife, I don't mean she needs to be behind a kitchen counter and cleaning the house and cooking food. Like, the world has changed. Like, we all know that, we all accept that. I'm more talking in the sense that if you like support your wife, like if she wants to start her own business and you have prior knowledge of doing a startup and you can help your wife to succeed with her own business, then go for it. Like, help her as much as you possibly can. But I still truly believe that there should be a man in the house. I honestly believe that. It's like, take care of your children, take care of your wife. We are more masculine. Like, if anything should go wrong within your household, someone should threaten your child or your wife, you are the man. Stand up, take care of the situation, and be there for your wife and your child. I completely agree that if you look at the news today, men are, I don't know what's the right word to call it.
Doesn't matter. There's no right, no wrong. Say what's on your mind, because truth is truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you see a lot of, it's almost like the society is trying to break men down to become less masculine. For what reason, I do not know. Is it to support a social cause? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I agree with you. I don't know what the reason is for, but there has been an onslaught of conversation about men becoming less masculine, but it's a double-edged sword, because those who are saying they want the man to be more emotional, be more opening, be able to talk more and express themselves, are the same people that if someone, let's for example say someone broke down that door, you're sitting at home with your wife and child and someone enters your home unwillingly, what do they want?
Yeah.
Do they want you to talk to the person?
Yeah.
Make them feel comfortable and like talk them down, or do they want you to stand the fuck up and take care of that situation so themselves and the child are safe?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Like, what, are you going to expect your wife to stand up and take care of the situation? I don't think that that's the right way to do it.
We've been brought up to understand that we are providers.
Correct.
Right? I saw my father, both my parents worked, right? But I saw my father provide for his wife and his children.
Yeah.
He was the one that carried the financial burdens of life for the household. Even though my mom made money, came in the house, it helped out. He did that. If something were to go wrong in the house, if something needed fixing, the car broke down, all of these aspects of life, I'm not saying women can't do them.
No.
A lot of women do. But they usually want the men to do it. So it's hard because you can't have it both ways. No. We always want our cake and eat it too, but that's just not reality. You know, you got to kind of have to be somewhere in there. When it comes to men talking about their emotions, I believe it's important. That's why I have my group of friends, my tribe, and we're able to do that. And not everyone on the same level, but over time, certain people have come and opened up and expressed things. And, you know, you obviously have that group of men in your life, the men I mentioned. And have you guys always been like that?
Yeah.
Like since you were young? So it's almost like not it's like
it's a very natural thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's weird then that the conversation is out there about men not opening up to other men for you.
Yeah. It's very weird. I mean, I think I rely heavily on my friend group of men to discuss whichever topic comes up. If that is business, if it's family, if it's children, if it's, I think that you can rely on your friend groups to maybe not always give you the right answers, because I don't think that everyone's got the right answers, but getting everyone's opinion kind of allows you to formulate something of your own, in a sense.
We use our friends as soundboards to express the thoughts that are in our head, to see how each one of them thinks of the specific situation. And then we can then choose which path to take and how to go after whatever that problem or thought is. My big thing, and maybe I'm the more emotional one of the group, I always want my friends to feel comfortable coming to me and talking to me about anything, because I know what I go through on a daily basis inside of my head, which is the most scary place for any human being to be. It can tear you down and it can build you up all on its own. And from this day, for the rest of my life, I'd rather be an individual that anybody, a friend of mine or not, can reach out to in a time of need of anything. And whether I send a viewer, a listener, a text back because they reached out to me via email, or even send them an email. Like I want people to feel comfortable enough to reach out, because if you don't have someone to talk to, you can fall down a very dark rabbit hole
quickly, very fast.
And I rather have my friend be emotional with me than have to be emotional at a funeral, if you know what I'm getting at.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I love the people in my life. There's very few of them, and then there's a smaller group outside of them. You know, you always hold on to people that you might not see every day. But it would break my heart and my soul a little bit if I found out that all they needed was someone to talk to.
And I think most of the time that is what a lot of people need, is just to have someone to talk to, which if you do not have that friend, that circle of trust that you've built up with friends, I think life can get dark pretty quickly. I think it's important to have a group of friends like that. I think it's like, if I look at my friend group that you've now mentioned, I think for the most part we have been moving each other in the same direction. If that's success in business, in our marriages, in raising our children, I think we kind of all lean on each other for advice. Not always taking the advice, but leaning on each other for advice, and just listening to people's opinions. And that's great to have. It's nice to know that when I'm in a pinch, I can just pick up the phone and go, I'm in a pinch, can you help me? And without even really talking to someone, you already know the answer. You are just phoning out of courtesy. But it's nice to have that backboard to be like, okay, I can't do this right now, but I've got this person or multiple people that I can rely on. Thank you very much.
It is a wonderful feeling to know that you have people that have your back. I'm very grateful, as I know you're probably very grateful, to have those people in your life. I love what you just said about how you all are helping each other move forward in success, whether it is marriage, kids, business. That is so important, that you all move and level up together from every aspect. And since all of you roughly same ages, and married or divorced, because they're all parts of the group, and you have that ability, you just know that they got your back. That's massive.
Second nature.
And you're right, it is more of a courtesy. You're calling them even though you know they're going to be like, I got you, boy, don't worry about it. It's unfortunate that some people out there don't have it.
True.
And that is I wish everyone would have at least one friend that they could call no matter what time of day it is in order to be like, listen, I'm going through some shit right now. And you're right. It's not always taking the advice. It's being able to have the advice, to listen to it or give it.
Or debate it. It's always good to debate it too.
Yeah.
Like I find myself in a situation all the time with my friend group where we are at a barbecue or a braai. I'm going to keep on saying braai because I'm South African as well. But where we are at a barbecue and a conversation which just feels like should be something super simple and that everyone should know as the truth turns into a debate. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I love those debates because now you can debate your closest friends and eventually get to a point where you see a complete different picture that you did not see before. I think that for me is probably some of the best educational material that I have come across ever, is to have those debates with friends and seeing the opinion of 5 or 6 different people about one subject. And you're like, you can't always be right? It's like, there is so many thoughts floating around on different topics, but without my friend group, I would not have that.
I'm a person like yourself that enjoys my alone time. I like my solitude.
Yes.
I like my time to think and meditate. I do it regularly. And at the same time, I absolutely adore my time with my friends. Mm-hmm. Like when I come back into town after being gone for a week, a month, whatever.
First thing I want
to do, see my dog, then see my friends. And I'm lucky that they're all at the same spot.
That's it. Easy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's easy, exactly. The amazement of knowing that your own opinion about something might be what you think is the best for you. But when listening and talking it out with other people around you that you respect, that you actually love them and respect their opinions on different topics. And after that conversation, like you're saying, you can actually be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'm being a bit wrong or maybe you know what? I didn't think about it in that aspect.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how that can mold you and almost put you down a better path, which brings back to the point how you're saying you and your friend group together are pushing each other in a positive direction in success for marriage, kids, business.
I mean, I think the other part too that I've come to realize is that everything that happens and from all those conversations that you have and debates and whatever that you have with your friend group kind of tells a story. I kind of see life as one big story and it's constantly being rewritten. It's constant. I just think that it is such a beautiful thing that you can keep on writing on top of each other. And from every new little story that you write, your mind is completely blown into another universe where you have you had several chapters written and you've literally erased all of them within 5 minutes. That for me is amazing.
We are all storytellers and we all have a wonderful story to tell.
That's it.
We've all gone through things in our past that have created us into who we are now. However, the book is not done.
No.
The chapter could be going one way. You as the reader can get some new information and all of a sudden a brand new book is being written. And if you're not happy out there with the story that you now currently have, it is up to you to change it.
Correct.
And you can.
I think some of the most successful people in the world are the best storytellers. Just my opinion.
Yeah. And they can reinvent themselves in a minute.
Yeah.
You said something earlier. You've said it a few times in this episode, and I love it how you say, I just hope that today I can be 1% better than yesterday.
Yes.
That in itself can change your whole story. Just doing a 1% action more today than you did yesterday can now take you down a path of happy?
It's small goals, eh?
Yeah, every day.
It's small goals, but that will keep you a hell of a lot more positive than setting a huge, I don't believe that there's an unachievable goal. I think that you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. But setting a massive goal and just going after that and failing and failing and failing and failing, that will get you down. If you do a 1% today, okay, I've succeeded at that, and you get the motivation off of that to go to the second goal and just keep on building, you'll get to the big goal.
Absolutely. Having an unattainable goal, I think, is key. I have one, obviously, doing this. I have a 10-year goal, but it's that 1%. It's knowing that the goal is out there that most people would say is unattainable, but knowing, okay, I have to implement small things every single day in order to get myself from here to there. And that's what I'm going to focus on. I have my unattainable goal, but I'm going to make small attainable goals every day that I can achieve, so that one day I will wake up 10 years down the line and that unattainable goal is right there. You're living the life that you wanted. The life you were dreaming about is currently your right now.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, Renaldo, as it always happens, the time goes by super fast. I enjoyed our conversation today. You have always been a positive individual. You've looked at your life every step of the way through eyes that I think most people only wish they could have. You grew up in a situation that unfortunately a lot of people deal with, but not everyone gets out of that situation in the same way. You are putting forth the energy and the communication into your marriage, which I think is so key. Anessa was on here. The two of you are definitely aligned. I love it. I wish you guys all the best in the future. It sounds like your child is going to be brought up in a wonderful environment and has such an amazing father who's going to care about him, but at times not be his friend.
That's it.
Because that's what you have to be. Sometimes you got to be stern. Right now, you're still just doing the IT on the vessels.
Yeah, so part-time, like I said, I'm on the boat 6 months of the year, which is also a contract that I got through my company. So all of that is running through my company.
Wonderful.
But then the other side, other 6 months of the year, I've got a partner at my company called Yacht Services, and we service all of the super yachts and then some of the larger 30,000 square foot residential homes.
Okay, all IT stuff.
IT, AV, automation. So you want to flush your toilet with an iPad, we can make that out. We can make that happen.
Awesome. So all of Renaldo's information is down below in the description if you want to talk to him about IT with regards to mega yachts or residential, as well as his personal Instagram is down below if you are a gentleman that is a single parent or was brought up as a single parent and you need someone to holler at. I'm sure you can reach out to Renaldo here to have a good conversation with a very positive individual. Of course, all of our information down below in the description for Life Choices. To follow us on all of our social media platforms, as well as our audio platforms, are down below. I want to thank each and every one of my lifers out there who come back week after week here Tuesdays at 2 p.m. to watch the Life Choices podcast. I look forward to hearing from any of you. If you want to be a guest on the Life Choices podcast, please shoot us an email from the description down below. And of course, we will see you back here next Tuesday at 2 p.m. for another episode on the Life Choices podcast. Much love, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You are now about
The Journey, Life Choices podcast.